Okay, so now we are moving to the next lab of OpenAI, which is use your own data with Azure OpenAI. Now, let me tell you one thing. This topic is also known as RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation. Now, if you have your own data, which can be in a form of a PDF or some other documents, or maybe it's a Cosmos DB kind of a database, you can add that data as the grounding content, and then you can actually use your own data when you associate Azure OpenAI model with that. How we can do this thing? That's exactly what we are going to see in this lab. We are going to use Azure OpenAI service, as well as we are also going to use Azure AI search service with some storage account associated with that. So let's get started with this. I'm just logging into my lab environment right now. First thing first, we are going to open our portal.azure.com. So first of all, we are going to open to portal.azure.com, and then we will sign in with our lab username and password. Now, in this particular Azure portal, first thing we are going to create is we are going to provision Azure resources. And as I said, this time in this lab, we have to create multiple resources actually. So first we have to create Azure OpenAI resource, then we need to create Azure AI search resource, and we also need Azure storage account with that. In order to do this, let's do the steps first. First, we are going to create Azure OpenAI service. I'm going to click on create resource. We'll search for Azure OpenAI. Inside Azure OpenAI service, we'll click on create, and we are going to choose the existing subscription and existing resource group. Now, while dealing with this, I want to make sure that I want to use same region every single time. So I'm going to choose East US as of now. I'm going to provide some meaningful name to this Azure OpenAI service. And we are choosing a standard S0 pricing tier. We'll click on next, 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 and then we'll click on create. Now, while this deployment is going on, we'll open Azure portal in the new tab, and parallelly we are also going to create Azure AI search resource. So while the first one is going on, let's go to the second tab. We'll click on create resource, and we will search for Azure AI search. While creating Azure AI search, make sure you're going to create that in the same subscription, same resource group, and in the same region. So I'm going to select everything same. Name of the service, we are giving my name, AZAI SRCH with some number. Yes, we cannot use capital letters in this, so let's make everything smaller case. And East US is going to be fine. In the pricing tier, we do not want this pricing tier because it's going to be expensive. So we are going to go for basic. And then we are going to click on next. Scale is fine, networking is fine. I think everything else is fine. We'll just click on review plus create, and then we will click on create. While this is also going on, we will open a new tab, and then in that we are going to open our Azure portal. The next resource which we are going to create is a storage account. So let's just create a storage account. Create. Again, we are going to select same subscription, same resource group, storage account name. I'm giving some name, and same region, East US. The primary service here, we are going to select here Azure Blob Storage account with Data Lake Storage Gen 2. Now, this is actually either Blob Storage or Data Lake Storage Gen 2. Any of these things can be there. We can choose primary workload. Now, these options are not available in the right side. You can see right now when we go for the storage account kind of thing, these options are not there because recently in the storage account configuration, these options came up actually. So you can choose the service, you can choose the workload here, which is like we are going to say that we are going to use it just to store some kind of a high performance data or machine learning and AI data, or we can specify other. Choose this proceed with non-workload specific defaults actually. So we're going to go for other right now. We'll go for a performance which is standard, and then in the redundancy we are going to choose LRS, and then I think everything else is fine. We'll click on review plus create. If the validation pass, we will click on create. Now, as it is mentioned here, after all this 3 resources have been successfully deployed in your Azure subscription, we have to take care of endpoint, key, and URLs for this services actually. So let's check. Our Azure OpenAI service is actually successfully deployed. We'll click on go to resource. Hey guys, sorry for interruption. My name is Maruti and I'm here to make a very important announcement. I hope you are liking our videos and you're doing a continuous learning with us on an Azure Cloud and AI related topics. If you are enjoying this thing, I'm going to announce skilltech.club, which is our upcoming website, which is going to be launched very soon. We are here to tell you one thing, that everyone who is a subscriber of this particular channel will get Azure Cloud and Azure AI related certification courses free of cost in skilltech.club. So you will be a part of the skilltech.club kind of a membership automatically free of cost. And everyone who's a subscriber of this particular channel will get those benefits which are available in that. So what are you waiting for? I request you to please subscribe to this channel and share it with your friends and families if they are also interested in Azure Cloud and AI learning. That's it from my side. Now you can carry on with your learning. Thank you. Yes, so this is successfully deployed, so it means that we can directly go to OpenAI Studio in the new tab, and meanwhile we can just focus on endpoint and key of this Azure AI service. Same way for the search service also, we actually need URL. So if that is deployed, we need a search service URL. This is my search service URL, so I can use it. And for the storage account, we can click on go to resource. And for this also, if we go to data storage option, we can check that as of now we'll not have any containers inside this because it's a newly created storage account. We just have logs. And then if I go to security and networking, we have a section where we can have a key and a connection string for the storage account. So we are good with this. All 3 resources are created. If we go to Azure OpenAI Studio, this is going to load, and then inside that we can create our models, we can deal with these things. But now before we actually use Azure OpenAI Studio and we deal with the deployment models, in the steps we can check one thing, that the next thing is we have to upload our data properly in the storage account. So that's exactly what we are going to do next. So let's go to our storage account, and we discussed that we do not have any containers here. I'm going to create a new container. This container is actually going to have a name Marquis Travel, and while dealing with this container, actually we want to make sure that we upload a proper data inside this. So let me properly give a name, Marquis Travel. I'm going to click on create. And then inside this we need a proper data which is actually going to come from this particular URL. This is an official URL from Microsoft where we have some data brochures for this. We'll just click on this URL and it's going to download this brochures here. Okay, the data is downloaded in my lab environment. I'm just going to go into that folder. It's a zip file. So the first thing which I'm going to do is I'm going to extract this data, extract all. And then once it is extracted, whatever files we have inside that, I think we have a couple of PDF files. These are actually the brochures which are available. All these files we want to upload into our storage container. So I'm going into my Marquis Travel container which I have created. We'll click on upload. We'll go to that particular folder. And we'll select all the brochures, open, overwrite if it is already there, and upload. Once you're done with this, this is like all the brochures are uploaded inside this. All these brochures are available here as a blob data. And then these are ultimately a PDF files. If you want to check these files, you can click on them. You can check those files. It's already downloaded in your computer. We are done with the uploading of the data, which means that now it's the time we have to deploy our AI models. And for that, we will go to our Azure AI Studio. So this is the actual process which is important. Please focus on this. I'm in my Azure OpenAI Studio, and then I'm going to go into deployments. Now this time when I'm going into the deployment section, I'm going to click on the create new deployment, and you can see that they're asking me that I can create a deployment which is going to be based on text embedding ADA-002. This is actually one of the model which has to be available inside this. So I'm just going to see whether this is available inside this or not. Text embedding ADA-002 is the last model which is there. I'm going to select this one, providing some name here. I'm giving a name Maruti ADA TXT EMBD 002. This is the name of the deployment. Model version, we are going to choose the default. Deployment type will be standard. Tokens for this is going to be 5,000. Not 3, 5. Yes. And then content filter is going to be default, and dynamic quota will be enabled. So they are keeping it enabled. We are also keeping it enabled. And then we are going to click on create. So this is one particular deployment which we have configured here. After this embedding model has been deployed, we have to go back to the deployments and we have to create one more deployment for GPT-35 Turbo. So let's do that. So this is going to be having a name something like Maruti GPT-35 T16K, and selecting the model version default, standard is fine. Tokens for this is also going to be 5,000, and once this is done, we are going to select content filter default and dynamic quota enable as per the instructions, and we'll click on create. So these are the two different deployments which we have done so far. These deployments are standard deployments. We do not have anything new or complex inside this, which is fine. And now let's focus on next step, which is creating an index. Now index and indexer are actually part of your Azure AI search service. As of now, we have not done anything inside the Azure AI search service. But now it's the time we are going into Azure portal and we'll navigate to our Azure AI search service, which is this. Inside this, it's asking me to go to import and vectorize data, which is exactly available here. So we'll click on import and vectorize data, in which we have to set up your data connection. We are going to specify that we want to associate with the Azure blob storage. And then we have to select our storage account. Inside that, our blob container, which is Margie's Travel. We already created that. And in the blob folder, we are leaving blank as it is mentioned here because we do not have any folder inside the blob container. Enable deletion tracker, we are going to deselect this, and then this is also not going to be selected. We'll just click on next. Second, in the vectorize your text page, we have to select the following settings, which is like Azure OpenAI service, subscription is there, service is also selected. In the model deployment, this time we have to select our text embedding model. Remember, this is a model which is actually going to help you to vectorize your text from those documents. And that's exactly what we are going to select here. Authentication type will be based on the API key, and then we want to make sure that we acknowledge that connecting to an OpenAI service will incur additional cost to my account. And if you want to check the pricing of that, you can just click on this link. I already know that thing, so I do not want to check the pricing. I'm proceeding further and clicking next. In the next page, I think we do not need to select anything in this. So they are saying it that do not select the options to vectorize image or extracting with AI skills. Well, if you want to enrich your data with the AI skills, you can do this by clicking on this particular step. But I think this is something which we are going to see in depth in the separate lab where we are going to focus on Azure AI search. As of now, we are not doing those things for vectorizing image or enrichment of the AI skills based data. We are moving forward with the next. In this also we have a advanced ranking and relevancy. So I do not want to do any semantic configuration with this. The only thing is enable semantic ranking and schedule the indexer to run once. This is already configured here. That schedule is only for once configuration, which is here, and semantic ranker is also enabled here. So nothing to do anything. We are just going to click on next, and review and create is showing me the same configuration. The object name which is going to be configured here is vector with this particular name. Now they are asking us that on the final page, set the object name prefix to this particular one, and then you create that thing. So I'm just going to create with this particular name, mark is index. This is going to be the name of that prefix, and I'm going to click on create. Now this process can take some time because right now this Azure AI search service is actually connecting with my Azure OpenAI service, as well as it is also connecting with my storage account. On top of the data of my storage account is going to run this indexer, and using that is going to create the index. All the things are going to be set up here very soon. It's right now showing me creation is succeeded. Now it's going to start searching your data using Search Explorer. So I can click on start searching and I can explore things whether it's working or not. Now, as of now, I can search, I can see what is happening inside that. But before that, I want you to see certain things here in this. And then if you see, the next step is actually prepare to develop your app in Visual Studio Code. Now we will do that, but before we prepare to develop the application, we want to click on search here just to see what exactly we are getting here. And if you see right now, when you click on search, you're actually getting a data which is in the JSON format, and this is a lengthy data which is generated with the help of that vector, as well as if we scroll down, it's just a vector data which got created with this. Now we can provide a proper configuration, proper query customization here, but that's exactly what we are not looking right now. Second, if I go to my Azure AI search service and if I focus on indexes and indexers, indexes is going to show me that I have one new index, which is Margie's index, and indexers is going to show me that I have one indexer which successfully got executed, which has actually successfully gone through 6 different documents. Now obviously my storage account is the one which is having those 6 documents, which is those PDF actually. So it has gone through those documents, and using that it has successfully created this index which is here. Now this index is the one which is useful in my next step, and that's the reason we are just keeping it here. Now it's the time we have to see whether we can configure this with our application or not. So that's exactly what we are going to do. So let's go to our Visual Studio Code. Inside the Visual Studio Code, first thing is, as usual, we are going to clone the repository. So we are typing a command git clone. In this git clone, I'm going to provide the URI. We are going to clone that repository. Okay, it's showing me some error right now, which is fine. Sometimes it happens. If this happens with you also, you can just do it again. So I'm doing git clone once again, providing the URL once again. Sometimes because of the network issues, it happens. We'll try once again. I'll click on open. Okay, now it is successfully done. If I expand the lab files, we have the lab samples available here. We have to go to this lab number 6, which is use your own data, which is here. And inside this, we have C# and Python. We are going to focus on C# as well as we are going to focus on the data folder, which is actually having similar kind of PDF associated with that. Now this is my C#, and we are going to follow that one. The first thing is we have to add a package for Azure OpenAI. So let's do that. Right click on the C# folder, open an integrated terminal. Yes, the prompt is available. Let's execute the command. Once this is done, we'll go to app settings.json, and inside this we actually have to update multiple things. We have to provide endpoint and keys and deployment name for all the different resources which we have created. So let's do it one by one. First, Azure OpenAI endpoint and Azure OpenAI key. Let me go to my Azure OpenAI service. This is endpoint. Let's take it first. Providing it here. Then key. Then my deployment name. Remember, when the deployment name, you have to take your GPT-35 deployment name. So we are going to take this. and we are going to provide it here. Azure AI search endpoint. So that's the URL of my Azure AI search service. And I'm going to copy this. Then search key and search index. These things are going to be available in the settings. So let me go to the key section. Search key is going to be a primary key. I'm copying that. And search index is going to be my index name. So let me just copy that. This is my search index. Make sure when you do this thing, you take care of all these values properly. If you make mistake in this, your sample application will not work. I'm saving this. All the things hopefully look fine. Let's move forward to the next thing, which is save the configuration file and then add your code to use Azure OpenAI service. So let me go to my own data.cs, which is a file which is having a logic inside this. They've already added OpenAI namespace. They have already created some flag to show citation, which is show citation false. And then we have some configuration here. All we have to do is we have to start dealing with the configuration of configuring your own data source. Now, because in the previous samples, we have already done this kind of a code, you already know what kind of things are there inside this OpenAI client object initialization. Let's focus on configure your data source, in which we are just going to add this line of code where we are trying to configure own data config, which our search endpoint and with our index, which we have created inside the search endpoint. Basically, this line of code is configuring your data source with your search endpoint. Remember, this is a direct connection of OpenAI with Azure AI search service, and then Azure AI search service is already internally using your storage account. Now, this code is fine. Let's move forward to the next step, which is saying that review the rest of the code. If you want to go through this, let's do this thing, because the rest of the code is trying to create the same kind of a chat completion option. Then is passing that chat completion option in the client object, calling the method get chat completion. We have already passed GPT-35 Turbo, so chat completion is perfect for that. Whatever response we are getting from that, we are trying to print that, and then we are going to go to this condition, which is if show citation, which is right now initially false, and it's going to show me the citation of the data which is used with that. It's going to show me the title and the URL of that, so that we get to know whether we are actually using our own data or not in this application. We have to save the changes. Let's do the save, and then we are going to run this application by just doing .NET run. Fingers crossed. Let's see if this is going to work fine or not. If the application is going to compile and run successfully, we are going to provide the prompt, which is tell me about London. Now, this time when I'm asking about London, I do not want to generalize information from LLM. I want to look for a specific data on London inside those PDF documents which are shared with Margie's index. Now, that's exactly what is expected. Let's see. It's asking me enter a question. Let me say, tell me about London. Now, it's not directly working. I'm just going to use right click, and let's see what kind of a response we are getting with this. Okay, I got the response. It's showing me that London is the capital of the most populous city, England, United Kingdom. It is suited with this. Now you can see right now it is mentioning the reference of the doc2 kind of thing. And then somewhere at the end of this also, it is showing me that visit Margie's travel website on this particular URL if you want to know more about this. And in the intent, it's showing me tell me about London, while the information about London is what we are trying to capture right now. Now this response is showing me that I'm actually using my own data inside this. Now, if you are not willing to develop application with this, and still without that you just want to see how you can configure and customize this thing, there are alternate ways which I'm going to show you right now, but I hope you understood how we are using use your own data kind of a customization with your Azure OpenAI service. Now, the next step which they are showing me here is cleanup. But before I do cleanup, I want you to see one more thing here. So let me go back to my Azure OpenAI Studio, which is available here. And now in this Azure OpenAI Studio, if you go to the chat playground Chat Playground is actually having this option available inside that, where you can customize this even if without developing any application. So we all know this thing that Chat Playground is having 3 sections: setup section, configuration section, and your chat section. Now in this particular setup section, if you scroll up, we have a section for add your own data. And this is a place where you can customize the same thing. I can add my own data source. Now because I have everything configured with my Azure AI search service and all, I'm going to click on this drop down and I can directly associate this with my Azure AI search service. If not, you can associate this with your Blob storage account, Cosmos DB account, Elasticsearch, or maybe you can directly upload files with that, which is also internally going to use Azure AI search service only. Now let me select Azure AI search right now. It's asking me my subscription, it's asking me my Azure AI search service, which is automatically coming here. It's looking for the search index where I can select my Margis index, which is already configured. And I can specify this tick mark, which is saying that add vector search to this particular search source. Now, if I want to create a vector search association right now, I can tick mark this thing, or maybe custom field mapping I want to do. All these things can be done with this. After this, I can click on next. It's going to ask me to do data management. I can choose that I want to do search based on semantic or keyword, or what kind of a configuration I want to do with that. Now I'm not doing any changes right now, but yes, all these things are customizable. You can choose whichever you want. Authentication I'm doing with API key only. It's going to validate the API key, and if it is validated successfully, I'm going to click on save and close. This is an additional configuration which you have done right now for this Chat Playground, which is temporarily going to connect my Azure AI search with this Chat Playground. And now in this Chat Playground, if I go to the prompt section, you can see that it is same prompt, it's same system message. We are not changing anything in this, but we are just applying my own data inside this, which is added here as a separate data source. Now let's try something which is going to be the same. Tell me about London. I'm going to send the request. Let's see if this is working or not. Now, sometimes it happens that when you customize this thing, immediately it's not going to work. And you can see right now it's showing me server response with status 400 error message. Now, this is a very common issue which is happening inside this kind of a lab environment. But if you have a full-fledged OpenAI service, it will work fine. Or maybe just retry this thing after some time, or change some customization of your data source, and things will work fine. But yeah, this is another alternate way by which these things are going to be working fine. Now, this is just a server issue right now, which can be fixed in your real environment, not in the lab environment. And that's the reason we have a sample code available in Visual Studio Code. I hope you understood this lab. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next lab. Don't forget to clean up your resources. I'll do it. Thank you.